Hello guys, Brian here. I decided that this Halloween I'm gonna try my hand at doing the 31 Days of Horror, where you watch one horror movie per day until Halloween. Um, I decided instead of doing a video per day that I'm gonna like watch the movies and do updates throughout the month. I did set rules for myself though, and the rule is pretty much well, this is two rules. One, like I'm only gonna watch films I haven't seen before, or films that I haven't seen in over 10 years and I'm not all that familiar with. Because there's some films that I've watched a lot, so I'm not going to watch anything that I used to watch a lot back in the day, just things I've seen maybe once or twice and never watched again. Alright, so for day number one, I got Cheerleader Camp. Now this is supposed to be a horror comedy, and you look at the artwork, there's lots of shenanigans stuff going on in the background, but from watching this film, I don't really think that it was really meant to be a horror comedy. I think they made the movie and thought, well, really isn't working out as well as we hoped, so we'll just go ahead and try to sell it off as a horror comedy. Like, the original title for this movie was Bloody Pom Poms, and when you compare the artwork, you can see the vast difference. Like, this is much more serious, with Betsy Russell here under the spotlight, and some hay. Looks like hay. It's kind of weird. So anyways, this movie also stars Lucinda Dickey. Now, she was the girl that was in the Break-In movies, like Break-In 1 and Break-In 2 Electric Boogaloo, as well as Ninja 3 The Domination, where she gets possessed by a ninja and she ends up killing all these cops. It's such a weird movie. The Scream Factory just released it, I think last year or so. I need to go pick that movie up. I watched that one a lot back in the day. So basically, this movie is about these girls in cheerleader camp, and they're being bumped off by this killer, who you don't really get to see. It's like kind of like a whodunit style, where everything's like the killer's point of view, kind of like the original Friday the 13th. But you'll know who the killer is like within 5 minutes of watching this movie. There's like really no suspense on that. One of the interesting things is Lucinda Dickey. She plays the mascot for the cheerleaders, and at first when there's a scene where she's doing like break dancing and stuff like that, and I thought it was a double. But when I realized who it was, I figured it was probably her, and they probably wrote that in there and they realized who they actually got for the role. She's okay. There's like a little bit of nudiness at the beginning of the movie, and there's like a weird scene where this guy, he's recording the girls while they're sunbathing nude, but later when they're watching the video is essentially the movie that we just watched. Like, the scenes even cut the way they were cut in the movie, which I thought was kind of weird. Another thing too about this movie is they really didn't have the budget to really do like the movie properly, where they were supposed to be like they're doing like the routines and they're competing, but there's no gym. They're competing pretty much in the lobby of the hotel where they're staying or something like that, which is kind of silly. But I don't know. The movie was still good fun though. Alright, so for day number two, I watched The Slumber Party Massacre. And actually, I really enjoyed this one a lot more than I remember. I actually had watched Slumber Party Massacre Part 2 a lot more back in the day than the Part 1. I only watched that one once. What the hell was that? Anyways, the thing that I found interesting about this movie is, one, that there's two final girls in it, as opposed to normally the one, and two, they show the killer right away, so there's no guessing. It's not a whodunit style. They within like 5 minutes of the movie, they reveal who the killer is, and he's got this drill, and basically he's stalking these girls that are having a slumber party. Another interesting thing about this movie was that the guys in the movie were pretty ineffectual, and it was actually the girls towards the end that do all the ass kicking. I think I'll probably watch Part 2 again at some point. I watched Part 3 first when I initially got this set, but I'm really surprised watching this movie now how much Part 3 stole from Part 1. It's almost a virtual remake of Part 1. So, I don't know. I enjoyed Part 3, but now watching Part 1, I'm kind of disappointed with Part 3. Alright, so on to my third watch, and that is Campfire Tales. Now, this is a horror anthology movie, and it stars Amy Smart, Ron Livingston, Christine Taylor, and James Marsden. James Marsden, he was Cyclops in the X-Men movies. Christine Taylor, she's married to Ben Stiller, and she's in most of his movies. Ron Livingston, I originally thought he was another actor. There's someone in a TV show called The Leftovers. I thought he looks kind of like him, but he's actually the husband in The Conjuring. And Amy Smart, she was in the Crank movies. Now James Marsden and Amy Smart, they have like a small cameo. It's like the first 5 minutes of the movie, they're together in this little urban legends type of thing, and then they're out. And Ron Livingston, he's in the first short story that they do, and then Christine Taylor, she's in the wraparound story, which is the people sitting around the campfire, which really isn't even a campfire. Like these kids crash the car, and while they're waiting for the authorities to show up, they start a fire and they sit around and tell stories. Now the first story is a camp. It's like they're in a camper or an RV or something like that, and it's kind of like a Hills Have Eyes thing, and it's an okay story with the cannibals, but I don't know. And then Ron Livingston, he does like this stupid New York accent in it, which is kind of annoying. The second story was probably one of the more effective ones, but it was kind of sleazy. It was about this online predator who's stalking this 12-year-old girl, and it was really, really sleazy. I mean, they had scenes. They don't really show up, but she's showering, and then she's changing clothes, and he's stalking around, and it was just kind of really sleazy. Like, there really should have been a twist with the story, like with the girl being evil or something like that, but they didn't even go that way. They just kind of ended it really shortly. They got chickened out with how they were going to end that story. The third story is the best one. It's a ghost story, and unfortunately, it's also the shortest story of the three, but it has a really good ending. And of course, the wraparound, the twist is, you'll see the twist coming a mile away. So that's it for my first three watches for the 31 Days of Horror. I'll probably do another one of these probably on Monday, because I need to watch some more movies. I got one already set aside for tonight. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you all later.